Alright, Toby, Jeff Lynn's in the garage, March the 10th in the afternoon after work. We're out working on the core, and we posted a little video yesterday about the brackets, and some fellow YouTubers and subscribers to my channel responded with some great information, and I want to thank everybody. I'll do that personally, because if I try to do it here, I'll probably leave somebody out. So measurements, pictures, I mean, I got everything I needed, and I think the answer to my question and the answer to the issue is going to be just to cut both of these off. It looks like there's 6 spot welds or resistance welds, whatever you want to call them, per bracket. It shouldn't be too bad. We'll cut them off, and then we'll set both of them correct. In other words, line them up straight. Everybody that had an original core had about the same measurement. And you can tell, I mean, these things probably weren't exactly perfect. Some, and depending on where you measure to, you know, there might be a little bump here, a little bump there, and also with the bracket. But everybody was extremely close that had measurements and pictures within an 1/8 of an inch. So that tells me which one of these is correct or close to correct. And that's the one that I'll go by that measurement. The only issue would be where the fender, the top of the core here, where the fender would mount, you might end up having to bushing a little here and there. I need to err on the side of that and not err on the side of this being too high. So what we'll do is we'll actually have it so that this maybe is dropped down 1/4 of an inch from the longest measurement that I got. So I hope that makes sense, but no doubt placement on these is terrible. You can see how bad off that is with this stamping. I mean, it's terrible. Not even close. Both sides are like that. So we'll get busy cutting these off and welding them back on, and then when we get it done and get it back on the subframe, we'll try to give you a shot to see what's level. Hopefully it'll end up that way. Bring you back. All right, guys, just bringing you along. Got the brackets cut off. We've got our areas smoothed out a little bit. We're going to get a couple of measurements and spot these on, and I'm going to run a straight edge across the bottom from bracket to bracket, just to make sure we get those things straight as we need to with the measurements that we got. So we'll spot them in with maybe one spot so we can still move them around just a little bit, put the straight edge on there, and rock and roll. We'll fire them up and get them in, and then set it on the subframe and get a look. All right, bring you along. All right, ran a straight edge across the bottom. Once we got our measurements, got them spotted in there. There was 7 on this one. They got carried away, so we got 7 going back. And we put some pretty good plug welds in there. Obviously, this thing will carry a little bit of weight, so don't want anything coming apart up here. And we put 1 or 2 little spots on these things and set it on the subframe just for a look. And I'll do that right now and shoot it so we can all see it. All right, so we just got it setting on there, and that is a ton better. I mean, that's exactly what I needed to do. Probably go back on one of them past videos and notice how bad off it was. It was a full 1/2 to 5/8 or so down on that driver's side, and that seems to have taken care of the problem. So again, thanks to everybody that took the time thanks to everybody that wanted to but just didn't have a core laying around. And I wish I could remember everybody off the top of my head, but I'll thank you all in the comment section for sure. Now we can motivate and move along, hopefully with some fenders. And I'm not really going to worry too much about the welded, where I welded these on right now, because this entire core will be scuffed and painted later. I'm just trying to do the fitment process, particularly on this driver's side, to make sure that we can easy on and easy off whenever we get ready to start priming and painting and doing that kind of stuff. So, all right, we have some more. We'll bring you along. Like I've said in past videos, this passenger side fender, you can just throw it on from 5 foot away, and I mean, it just goes right on with no problem. I mean, all I did literally was just walk up here, slide. I mean, it's just laying there with 2 bolts, these top 2 bolts in it, and I mean, it's, I don't know. The driver's side one is definitely a different cat, so we'll stop for a minute and see if we can get it on. Now, this one does have the fender skirt in it. This one does not. And we're just trying a couple different ways, seeing if it's best to put it on first and then go with the fender going on the car, or obviously the other way around without the skirt being on first. So we'll see. All right, we just got the driver's side fender on. It is just hanging on, nothing's bolted. A couple of 3 issues, trying to get some reference points, just line of sight stuff. The back of the fender's got to come way up. We know that. That's obvious. The reason that it will not come up is because of that wheel well bracket. So I'm thinking my best route will be to take this wheel well off, get the fender so that I know about what I need to do as far as shims to get this thing to line up a little better in the back end toward the door. Work with just the fender first, then come in here and start working with the skirt or wheel well. And obviously with that fender being down as far as it is, it throws that big nasty gap in the bottom. Of course, that is not in or up. So just trying to figure a plan of attack on this driver's side, because it has given me fits. We're good with the door. Now it's on to the fender. Just got to get it figured out, and we'll figure it out. We'll bring you along. All right, guys, I'm going to try to keep the talking down to a minimum. Seems like I do more of that than anything, but the fender, I had to clearance a couple of holes to get it to go on and get this close, which is real close. I like it. It's real good right in this area right here. The body lines meet up good. I've got this fender all the way back. I actually had to clearance the hole on the inside of this. I know it's probably from when this car got hit. It just didn't get pulled back out quite far enough. I believe we can make it work. Hopefully, the only big thing that we'll have issues with more than likely is going to be the hood. We did lay it on one time and it was close. We wrote down some measurements of kind of where we needed to be when we started back working with the fenders. So I've got an issue with that inner cowl panel lip. It's touching the brace that runs down this fender on the inside. So I'm gonna have to clearance something to be able to get this to close on up. I'll get in there and look. I'll give you a shot of it in there, but you can't really see, you can't really tell. It's not this outer lip, it's the one behind it. The fender will move in and I can get the bolt started. You can see that, that's moving. And it's real close. We've had the fender set on there before, but not to this point. It was really, really bad in that bottom area. Clearance in that one slot, let the fender slide back and tighten that gap up. Now all we got to do is clearance that little lip part, hopefully, and we'll be able to throw bolts in the bottom on both sides. The other fender I'm not worried about at all. It seems to be fine. Once we get this, which will hopefully be tomorrow, the next issue is to bolt these fenders down as close as I'm going to be able to get them, gapped as good as I can gap them, and then try to get the wheel wells or fender skirts, whatever you want to call them, try to get them on and bolted. I would much rather beat and frame, if you will, on them than I had the fenders. I don't want to do any modification to the fenders. I think they're okay, hopefully. So the wheel wells, aftermarket. A lot of this front end, other than the fenders, is aftermarket stuff, and we know we're gonna have to do some tweaking, if you will. So we'll get off of here. We'll leave it like it is for now. Come back tomorrow. We'll start again down here at the bottom, and hopefully be able to clearance that enough we can get some play in that and be able to close it on up and get the bolts in there where we need them. All right, tubers.